Hello and welcome to the virtual summit called Let's Talk Menopause, coming to you from Sun Valley, Idaho. I am Dr. Maria Marisic, the Executive Director of the Wellness Clinic in Sun Valley, and I have here with me Dr. Anna Cabeca. We're so proud to have her with us as one of our featured speakers. She's a triple board certified OBGYN. She has extra training in our certifications in functional medicine, sexual health, and hormone replacement therapy. Welcome, Dr. Anna.
Great to be here with you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being with us. So you obviously have at your fingertips many tools of modern medicine, but you've also found that some of the time-tested therapies can be very beneficial for women as well. And from that, it sounds to me as though you've developed your own keto style program called Keto Green. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I call it the keto green way versus a diet because it's more than just about what we eat. So through my own journey from early menopause and experiencing every symptom in the book you can imagine, weight gain without doing anything different, hair loss, mood swings, hot flashes, night sweats, insomnia, and just name it, right? It was terrible. So I had to dig beyond my doctor's bag, and that took me on a journey around the world to look at other solutions. So the Keto Green Way was born from my own desire to heal myself beyond hormonal management, because it takes more than hormones to fix our hormones. And so the Keto Green Way was born from this approach. Number one, the ketogenic diet to decrease carbs and lose weight. Yet that wasn't enough because mood swings, irritability, acidity, inflammation resulted. So that added on the alkalinizing factor. And I used a marker, a biomarker, a biohacking biomarker of checking urine pH as a key part of that. And I recommend everyone do the same. I mean, it's really inexpensive. You can get urine keto pH test strips off of Amazon and check urine pH every day. But the urine pH makes a difference on your overall health. A higher urine pH, and so, more alkaline environment, urinary, like when we use the urine as a biomarker, we're not talking about blood pH. It's going to take a lot to shift the blood pH, but urine pH fluctuates very, very rapidly on a, hour by hour basis, basically. And so what we know is that a higher urine pH greater than 7 is associated with decreases in inflammation in all types of cancer, in metabolic syndrome, diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, and associated too with clearing uric acid levels, which I find to be fascinating. So this is the Keto Green Way. It's adding low carbohydrate, alkalinizing greens, herbs, spices, combined with a healthy fats, healthy high quality fats, clean protein, and moderate amounts of good clean protein. Women, we often don't do enough good clean protein. With intermittent fasting, no more snacking. So we're living on, maybe 2 meals a day, and feeling in the state, getting into the state of ketosis, or a keto alkaline state. So getting into ketosis while maintaining a urine pH. And from a feminine perspective, it is ideal. Men have 10 times as much testosterone as women, so they're not going to break down. Testosterone is an anabolic steroid, anabolic hormone. So they're not going to break down muscle and bone like we will to maintain a healthy physiologic pH and mineral balance. It's different for women. So we have to do keto differently from women. And I don't just think this Keto Green Way is a good idea in menopause, but I think it's mandatory. I think it's essential. It's an essential key tool in my doctor's bag that, takes care of 90% of the symptoms that we experience. And I only hold back 10% because, I'm a physician, I still have an ego, and I want to maintain some control. Like, okay, well, let me just add this little, progesterone, bioidentical hormone here or there for you too.
Right. So the Keto Green Way and your book called Keto Green 16, it sounds to me like you're just really making sure that people have a lot of greens to keep the alkalinity up. What does the 16 refer to?
Yeah, so Keto Green 16, really focusing that's my second book, and it is a 16-day plan with 16 hours of intermittent fasting from the night before to the morning of. So say if you eat, finish eating by 7 p.m., you break fast at 10 a.m. And I think that's really good physiologically for women in my experience. And so that's one thing. And then I made with Keto Green 16, I played around with it a lot and just made 16 key food groups that we can incorporate to keep shopping easy, cooking easy. And yeah, and so that's been great. And my new book coming out is called Menopause, which also incorporates there's 5 different 6-day eating plans that each pause something with a Keto Green basis.
Uh-huh. So that's your third book, and your first book is The Hormone Fix, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I think
Well,
foundational reading, because talking about hormones, hormone disruptors, a lot of things, a lot of aha moments that we need to know. And I've had both women and men reading this with empowering understanding.
fantastic. So menu pause, that's great. So was it 6 different menus that you talked about?
5 different 6-day
5
menu
different
plans.
menus.
Mhm.
Great, great. And that book is coming out when?
April 12th. April 12th.
Okay. So our summit is actually going to be live May 14th and 15th. So the book will be out. The book is
Yes.
out when you're watching this.
Yes.
So be sure and look for that, as well as Dr. Anna's other books. You also have created some products. My friend Catherine, our friend Catherine, who introduced us, raved about the Julva product, if I'm saying that correctly. And can you tell us about some of your other products and how to find them?
Yes, you can. The Julva product, this is Julva. It's an anti-aging cream for the vulva. And it's a topical cream I created that combines some amazing ingredients. So DHEA, which is a hormone that's been shown to help regenerate healthy vaginal and vulvar tissues. So we've been using this for, first I compounded formulas. And then when I closed my medical practice, my patients were like, Dr. Anna, no one will give us your compounded cream. So I challenged myself to create something available without a prescription that works even better than anything I could write on a prescription. So this has DHEA, and it has plant stem cells from the alpine rose, emu oil, shea butter, coconut oil, and no parabens, no phthalates, no endocrine disrupting chemicals. So this is for use externally, clitoris to anus, to keep that tissue healthy. It does help because of the natural absorption, helps absorb and helps with vaginal moisture. Also sensation and pleasure, decreased urinary leaks, and discomfort with intercourse, and decreases all of that. So that's been a blessing. So that's why it's a big fan, certainly of men. You can read on my website at dranna.com over 5,000 5-star reviews. So it's really good, and again, clean. And it's not just a moisturizer or a lubricant. It really is an anti-aging cream. It's turning back the clock to help with cellular regeneration. It's the first thing that was ever designed. And again, I needed it for me and my patients. It was something that we didn't have available. So here that is. That's one of my flagship products.
Sounds like something I'd like to carry in my office.
Yes. Oh, you certainly would. And I've now created, at the time of this recording, you'll see I have the Lip Duo out. So I have a form of Julva for the upper lips too. It's more of an ointment base. And so it's called Kiss, Julva Kiss. So it's for our upper lips, and then Julva for our lower lips. I really want to break down the stigma that is associated with our vulvar vaginal anatomy. I mean, we should look at it like we're looking at the skin on our face. The skin on our, the tissue for our vagina, our vulva, our urethra, our anus affects the quality of our life. I'm a gynecologist, and I've operated on many women, over 50, 60, 70, 80. And we want to prevent, not treat. We really do want to prevent the natural course of aging when it comes to vulvar tissue in a natural way that will help. So with these ingredients and pelvic floor exercises, we can really maintain a healthy pelvic floor, and we get amazing results.
Where does somebody learn about pelvic floor exercises?
So I have definitely Google that on my website at dranna.com. I have a great video on how to do pelvic floor exercises correctly. So that's a really good video to look at. And great resources around, there are great resources, especially if there are biofeedback devices like the PeriFit that can be used, and working with pelvic floor physical therapists are some of my most amazing go-to referrals to really address problems with the pelvic floor too.
We do have one of our other speakers who is a pelvic floor therapist, Dr. Claire Giuliano. So if you're wanting more info about that, you can look for her presentation. So this process of going through perimenopause and menopause obviously creates many challenges for women. I think it also creates opportunities for us to grow and thrive. And you mentioned this, thriving physically, emotionally, sexually, and spiritually. Can you elaborate on that for us, Dr. Anna?
Yeah, no, I think this is where menopause is natural and mandatory, suffering is optional, right? We're designed to really, we should be able to breeze through menopause into the second spring of our life to feel empowered. So I'm 55-year-old postmenopausal woman, and I like to say my biomarker of aging is that I have the vagina of a 25-year-old. So I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
right? I mean, it's a fun thing, and I talk about that with with Jolva. I mean, it's really the anti-aging. Anti-aging. I'm a longevity hack. I've been in anti-aging medicine, age management medicine, and a leader on the scientific boards, on the medical advisory boards for over, 2 decades now. So I'm very serious when I talk about the quality of our health. And I lost both my parents to diabetes and heart disease at, my mom at a young age, having her first heart surgery at age 52 and suffering for another, 15 years until she passed away undergoing a second heart surgery. And the levels of intervention, I write about this these in my book, come from this knowledge that when we go to when we address the smallest changes at the cellular level, we have the biggest impact, right? The biggest impact. So we can have good skin, we can have good hair, we can have good, sexual drive, and it's not forced. And I think that's really important. And the second half of our life, so as a new grandma, right? A lot of it's reframing how we think about aging, how we think about our own limitations. And I find women that thrive post menopause in the second spring of our life, women who are thriving have dealt with, let go of limiting beliefs. What does it look like? And I've dealt with this myself. Like, what is it? As soon as I knew I was going to become a grandma, I gained 10 pounds. My mom, who was the only grandmother I've known for my children in my life, was on oxygen, was diabetic, was, on 11 medications. Again, if I knew then what I know now, she wouldn't have been. But, I mean, that's what it meant to me. So I've been this constant discipline and shift to create this new vision. What's this version of myself as a grandma now? Like I got the postmenopause thing down, but now as a grandma, that's a whole nother set of concepts you have to deal with. Like, what does that look like to you? What does that feel like? How do you want to live out this second half of your life? Say, God gives you the 100 years on this earth. Like, what's the quality of those years? Sharp mind, quick wit, lots of love and affection, and people around you that love you and love being with you, and vice versa, right? That's the difference. And these are things that I've seen shift in people's life as they become empowered physically, physiologically, and mentally, behaviorally, and spiritually. It's a connection, the most powerful hormone in our body. And I write about this in each and every one of my books, especially the first book, The Hormone Fix, the most powerful hormone in our body. And I call it the crowning hormone. And if we address this crowning hormone in menopause, man, we are queens. I mean, seriously, we are queens. And this is the hormone oxytocin, not nearly talked about enough, but it is a longevity hormone. And not only that, it's a quality of life hormone. Every blue zone, every longest living population that has been studied in the so-called blue zones have connection, community. And I call that's the oxytocin piece, healthy relationships, like a joie de vivre, despite what your environment is, right? It's an internal phenomenon that we can create, and that's through the power of oxytocin enhancing behaviors and principles. So it goes beyond that. I have a lot of fun with my books and my menus and cooking. I love to use food as medicine, and something I grew up with, that the quality of our behaviors, our thoughts and our mindset and our actions and how we give and contribute into other people's lives. I mean, that's powerful medicine too.
So that connection is how you can raise oxytocin.
And
Are there other ways to raise oxytocin?
yes, oxytocin. So the hormone of love, bonding, and connection, not to be confused with oxycodone, a painkiller. Oxytocin, it
Right.
does have analgesic effects. That's why, the two of the most powerful ways that we as women experience oxytocin is childbirth, contraction. Sometimes you've been given IV pitocin, which is oxytocin, and to stimulate contractions. And it's that bonding. You see this baby you just delivered, and there's, wow, this connection that defies all understanding, right? Could never be explained how you're actually going to feel. That feeling of
Right.
that connection, that's oxytocin. There's an energy to the hormone oxytocin. And we know that orgasm, pleasure, massage, facials, dancing, laughter, good company, things that we take joy in and from increases oxytocin. Giving, contributing to the lives of others is amazing way to increase oxytocin.
Fantastic.
Oh, and having a pet and having a healthy,
Mhm.
loving relationship. Yes.
That's why those things keep you younger. It's been shown in studies.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you've said that physiology drives behavior, and I think you've just described that to a certain degree. So you're talking about doing anti-aging and biohacking maneuvers to change your physiology, which then changes your behavior. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
What are
And the
some
other
other?
way around, you can use behaviors to change physiology. So,
Right.
you're visiting with a friend that makes you laugh. You're playing with a pet. You're, contributing to someone else's life. But like, those are things that behaviors affect your physiology too. So I use it both ways, because I remember a time when, after the loss of my son in a tragic accident, I mean,
Mm.
every day I wanted to die. Every day I wanted to die. There was no way I was ever going to be okay again. And, and it's interesting, Maria, because some people will say, "Oh, you lost a child. I mean, that's so tragic. How are you even living? How are you breathing?" I mean, as almost if it's a betrayal to the memory of your lost child. And I think it's really a mistake when people say something like that. It's really heartbreaking and devastating. And what really recognize, like, what choice do we have? Right? What choice do we have? But I think for me, what it was, after wanting to die every day for, I don't even remember how long, how do I put my feet on the floor? How do I live? And it starts with, I'm living for those I love. So for my other children, then it extends to a purpose I have in my life, and then extend to, with no real healing without the self-love behaviors and self-love conversation that we have to have with ourselves for really true healing to be done, to let go of fear, shame, guilt, regrets, what ifs, all of those things. We have to let go of that to have true healing. And that's through this experience. And for me, without the physiology to make sane decisions, so without this keto, alkaline, keto green approach that I have, like, I couldn't make these sane, good decisions that I have in my life, to continue the practices and principles that keep oxytocin as the crowning hormone of my life.
Yeah, I've found that to be true for myself too, that when I keep my physiology in as optimal health as I can, it changes the way my mind thinks. And as much as I might try to have positive thoughts and um, keeping my mind in a higher state, it's so much easier to keep it there when the rest of my body's healthy.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're in a brain fog, you're depressed, you're moody, you're exhausted, right? Like, I mean, what good decision can you make for yourself? It's the quick fix: sugar, alcohol, other,
Which are
toxins.
mostly going to just drive you down more, right?
It absolutely drives you down more. It absolutely
Right.
drives you down more. And that awareness is key. So it's a step by, the keto green way for me and my patients and clients all over the world now that work with this. It's a complete shift in physiology and lifestyle with little behavioral hacks too. So it's not just about eating keto green foods, eating a keto green plate, it's intermittent fasting. It's no more snacking. It's creating a physiology that you don't even have to think about willpower because you're not hungry. You're not craving other things. And that's where, that's where the destructive pattern seeps its way right back in. And you can start to, as you follow, like as we follow this and we empower our physiology, we can make better decisions for ourselves and our family. I'm telling you, like, 8 years ago, there's no way I could do what I'm doing now. There's no way, 8, 9 years ago, and no way I could do what I'm doing now. I've written 3 best-selling books. I, have clients from around the world. I consult with some of the world's leading longevity physicians. And, at this higher level, at the time of this release, I will have spoken for women in tech in Paris with a panel of leading experts talking about, the food chain and endocrine disruption. I mean, this 10 years ago, I was in this perimenopause hell. And so I say this not to boast at all, but to say, like, God, there was a time I wanted to die every day. I was a waste, like I was trash. Like, I mean, I just like had so little opinion of my life and what it meant to be on this earth. And so I say that because I know what that feels like. And to empower physiology through this transition, through what we're dealing with in our lives, it's a daily discipline, and it's a practice that will contribute to your life. Because now I am a grandma and I want to live. My mom didn't get to live to see her grandchildren. I want to live to see my grandchildren and play with them and be energetic and healthy. And that's a decision that, that is part of a daily practice for
Yeah.
longevity.
Thank you for sharing those heart-wrenching stories. So you said you're 55 and 10 years ago was menopause for you. So that means you were going through menopause at 45 or even younger.
Yeah, it's starting there again at 39 with early menopause, reversed it, early menopause and infertility. And I was told I would never be able to have another child. Reversed it to naturally conceive at 41. And then, 45 to 48, really spiraling, closed my practice, went near broke. I mean, depression, all that good stuff was seeping in. PTSD, it was actually full blown post-traumatic stress. And
Yeah.
so, yep, all of that had been part of it. And that's when I really, discovered what I call the keto green way that I write about and troubleshoot to empower physiology to resonate at a higher magnitude so that we can magnify the good into our life that we deserve, each and every one of us, no matter what the past was.
Do you have any thoughts on why you went into early menopause?
Definitely and this is something, again, I studied at one of the best institutions in the world at Emory University for OBGYN. I know and recited hormonal pathways inside and out. And there is nothing I missed, but this part of my education, there was nothing there. So if I didn't experience it myself, I wouldn't be here to talk about it. And this is something, be kind to your physicians. I wish no physician the journey I've been on to know what I know, but this is why I'm teaching it. And I love teaching other physicians. So that early menopause was post-traumatic. That progesterone is used to make cortisol. And that effect, when we are in that fight and flight state, we're in that fight and flight state, as I was at 39, post-traumatically, your body is not making, it'll go to cortisol first over DHEA, which is further downstream, which makes estrogen and testosterone or reproductive hormones. You need progesterone for a healthy, essentially, bedding in the uterus to support a pregnancy, or you'll miscarry, or you won't get pregnant even if your eggs aren't ovulating. And what happened with me, Miriam, is so fascinating. Again, it's not something I've studied, and I've worked with the leading reproductive endocrinologist. And as I went through my own infertility journey with the highest doses of injectable meds, failing it time and time again, it was decided by the head of the department that the only option for me would be egg donation. Egg donation. That wasn't a choice for me at the time. And so, and then to reverse it naturally, it blows my mind. And part of, fascination and journey is certainly mindset. Did I even think it would be possible after that diagnosis that I could have normal monthly periods, that I could reverse early menopause? I mean, that's like 1 in 10,000 chance, right? Like, Could I reverse that? And what would that even look like? What else would I need to do to get pregnant? If I got pregnant, how could I even maintain a pregnancy, right? Because I'm early menopause, hormones are shot. The ovaries look like dried up almonds on ultrasound. Like, how is that even possible? It's absolutely possible. It's absolutely possible by empowering your physiology, not giving up hope, and living in the present moment. If you're constantly looking back, if you constantly have fear, regret, angst, anxiety, depression, shame, guilt, hate, anger, all of those like those are, feelings of desolation, or, those are all negative feelings, negative energies. If you have that, I mean, your body's in a survival mode. So reversing that was really powerful and spontaneous. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I know what happened in order for me to get the results at that time.
So I think many women are starting to experience some perimenopausal symptoms like as early as 35, and they haven't necessarily changed their cycles, so they don't know that that's what's happening, but they're dealing with severe anxiety, insomnia, depression, all of those kinds of things. How would a woman know that that's what's happening, or what would be your message for her?
Yeah, well, I also always say to my patients, I'm like, well, if you only hate your husband 2 weeks out of the month, it's probably your hormones and not necessarily your husband. If it's only those 2 weeks, right? And it's so true. It's so true. I mean, stress plays a really big role, and we can see this. I want to make one more analogy because, as I had post-traumatic stress and trauma, and this is something true for divorce attorneys, they peak in the pre-Christmas season. You think the stress of the season, and I didn't know this until 2 years in a row. I went to my divorce attorney. This is, over a decade ago, but so around, yeah, over a decade ago now. But I went to my divorce attorney December, uh, you know, 2 years in a row, and she's like, I am not filing divorce papers in before Christmas. I'm not doing it. I'm like, okay. And so she didn't see me till the following December. She's like, I am not filing divorce papers before Christmas. I'm not doing it. So by then it was March, and that year, and then I did file divorce papers, but I still didn't understand the impact of post-traumatic stress on cortisol and oxytocin. Chapter 8 in my book, The Hormone Fix, mandatory reading for really every adult human at this time, based on what we've been through the last 2 years. And it is critical, that oxytocin cortisol disconnect. It's a phenomenon, and it's true. It's a physiology of divorce. It's a physiology of burnout. It's a physiology of quitting your career that you've loved. It's that, and it can lead to. I mean, it's interesting. So it's been an interesting journey as I've looked to uncover and heal, and note what helps heal, and what are the smallest things that we can do in order to get the best results.
Right. So in short, what you're saying is that stress robs those ever so vital hormones for your body health as well as your brain health.
Body health, brain health, physical health. I mean, we can look at any president that's been through 2 terms, 8 years. Look at their picture before and after. They've exponentially aged, right? They've
Right.
exponentially
Oh
aged.
yeah.
And so when
Yeah.
you see that, and you can see what stress does. I have a good colleague in the medical field right now, and she's been through 2 really major surgeries. And I mean, she's aged 2 decades. And, that's why it takes more than hormones to fix your hormones. It really does. We can have our hormones dialed in optimal, but it's these major hormones. So like I was saying, I wish estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and even DHEA were what it was all about, because I spent my, you know, years, my life studying these hormones. But what it comes down to is really the hormones that increase when we age, and that rapidly age us, right, to knock us out, and that's insulin and cortisol. So we've got to moderate our cortisol. We've got to become more insulin sensitive, because as we age, especially in this menopause and perimenopause, it is a significant risk factor for diabetes, heart disease, and dementia. Just that fact that we as women go through this transition in hormones. And so we have to really focus on that, because we become more insulin resistant as we do. So we have to become more insulin sensitive, and getting keto green is a key aspect of getting insulin sensitivity, and empowering oxytocin overpowers cortisol and is key to longevity and quality of life and quality of relationships.
I love that you share that it's more than just hormones, because many women seem to think that I can just go get some hormone replacement, and you're obviously skilled in that. But there is a much bigger story. Another fallacy that women live under is that it's just going to be a few months and it'll be over.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-mm. Nope, it's
Yeah.
true. And it's a red flag when someone says, "Oh, I went through menopause with no symptoms." For me, that's likely there's some likely estrogen dominance. And when I've had patients like, and this is why, I mean, with exception, of course, but when I've had patients like that, I immediately do a pelvic ultrasound. I look at their endometrium, because typically there's estrogen dominance and they have a thickened endometrium, and or in some cases, two specific patients that I can remember right now, I diagnosed endometrial cancers. And I just went looking. I didn't wait for the symptoms to come. And I think that's really a powerful thing, because estrogen dominance, right? I mean, that's a key thing that, we can be very symptomatic with estrogen dominance, but it really does depend on how our physiology is and how we're detoxifying those estrogens.
Key point. So tell our audience how they can find you, both on the internet and on social media, and what services you have available.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm easy to find at dranna.com, DRANNA.com, and find me at The Girlfriend Doctor on Instagram and on Facebook, and I have a great, thriving Keto Green community. We're all doing menopause on my Keto Green community at this time. And I always say I'm on Instagram because that's where I check up on my daughter and see pictures of my granddaughter. And so I'm there quite a bit.
Fantastic. Well, I'll be checking you out for sure on those spots.
Thank you.
I want to give a little shout out to our sponsor, which is the Sun Valley Wellness Festival. We're hoping to have Anna come speak at the Wellness Festival in years soon to come. You can learn about the Wellness Festival at sunvalleywellness.org. The next live for the Wellness Festival is June 10th of this year, 2022. We also are going to be bringing more virtual journeys for people. And also for anybody who is wanting to purchase the summit, it's just $39, and all of the proceeds are going to go to the Wood River Advocates, which is an organization that helps women get out of abusive and traumatic situations and find also a new lease on life. And that you can learn about them at theadvocatesorg.org. Yes, it is org.org. So I am Dr. Maria Maricic, and so pleased, Dr. Anna, to have you share this information. And I think it's going to be inspiring for many women, and I encourage all of you to go check out Dr. Anna's books and her website. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.